Welcome to the Taste Live CellarPass Mutineer Ultra broadcast here from the gala opening event of the Napa Valley Film Festival at the Robert Mondavi Winery. I'm joined by Mr. Carl Jaeger here. You're the estate manager?
Yes, I'm the estate director.
Estate director.
Robert
What is that?
Winery. What is that? The estate director, it is my job to help manage the estate and to make sure that wherever we go around the globe, that we are represented well and we're always at the level of quality and standard that Robert Mondavi wanted of us.
Beautiful.
That's
and
my job.
It's no coincidence that we have this huge, glamorous Napa Valley Film Festival. The gala event is kicking off right here at Mondavi.
Yeah, right just over there. We wish you were with us.
Yeah, well, the party's just getting started inside, and we're going to be drinking some Mondavi wines tonight. We're starting out with the 2009 Reserve Fumé Blanc. What can you tell us about this wine?
So this is one of our most special wines. Mr. Mondavi, when he founded the winery in 1966 in Oakville, where we are at the edge of the Tokelon vineyard, knew that this vineyard would be one of the best in the world to grow great Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Sauvignon grapes. So this wine that we're having is 100% estate grown on the vineyard that's right over there called Tokelon. And Tokelon Vineyard is one of our most prized vineyards, and this Reserve Fumé Blanc is one of our most prized. And Mr. Mondavi coined the term Fumé Blanc in 1966 when he built the winery. He wanted to make a Sauvignon Blanc that would stand in the company of the finest wines of the world. And so he called his wine Fumé Blanc as a nod to the great Fumé wines of Europe.
Wonderful. And, you know, it's obvious the huge cultural impact that Mr. Mondavi had to wine culture in the United States and here in California. What are you guys doing today here at the estate to carry on that legacy, and how's that vision evolving?
So that's a great question. I love that question. Mr. Mondavi passed away in 2008, and what he left with us was a spirit and an understanding that we were never to rest on our laurels, that we were to always work hard, that we look forward. Maybe we made a great wine this year, great. How are we going to do it better next year? And when you have your founder having that sense of vision and expectation of quality in everything that you do, the winemaking team that we have here, Genevieve Jansen's our director of winemaking, started with us in 1978.
Wow.
Our senior white winemaker, Rich Arnold, who made this wine, started with us in 1975. And Gustavo Gonzalez has been with us now for 17 vintages, our senior red winemaker. So think about that, that's 80 plus years of great winemaking experience that have a relationship with this Tokelon vineyard. And these are winemakers that were trained, mentored, and minted by Mr. Mondavi. And so our ability to carry on his vision and quality is in the people, it's in the vineyard. And then in the year 2000, we completely renovated the entire cellar. Genevieve Jansen's, our director of winemaking, said, okay, Mr. Mondavi always wanted us to do it better. How do we do that better? And we completely re-engineered the cellar in the year 2000, and that's how we make these great wines today.
Wow, and how have the wines changed since re-engineering the cellar? What improvements did you make to that process?
So I think, well, the wines have changed over the years. With the cellar, we have a tightening understanding of terroir. So our vineyard sourcing every year gets a little more refined, a little more exact. What clone goes with what piece of soil, goes with what block, with what kind of trellising. And we've only been at it for about 40 years, but we are ever honing that. And then what we notice out of the cellar now is that we're making some of the best wines with the softest tannins we've ever made.
We've had some tricky vintages the last couple of years here in Napa Valley, and I think a lot of that attention is paid specifically on the red wines and the Cabernet, but how do vintages affect the Fumé Blanc, Sauvignon Blanc wines that you guys do here?
So what we like to say about this vineyard is that it is one of the first growth vineyards of the world, the Tokelon vineyard. So while there's always vintage variation with regards to weather, fog, rain, is it too cool, is it warm enough, because it is considered a first growth vineyard, and we have people who have a 3-decade-long relationship with the vineyard, no matter how hard the vintage is, we know we can make excellent wine because of their experience and because what the vineyard gives us. That being said, you know, when you have a nice warm sunny summer and late fall, you're going to get riper grapes. In a cooler season, you're going to get ripes that take a little longer to ripen, but they've got great complexity and concentration. So any given year, you might wind up with slight variations on those things.
Beautiful. Now, this is a Taste Live broadcast.
Yes.
So we got bloggers all over the country tuning in to ask us some questions.
And we have questions.
And we got questions, okay?
Great. Let's hear it.
Cellar Mistress, it's more of a rhetorical question / statement.
Okay.
Just got the Flint. So I'm assuming that she's smelling and tasting this wine and she's getting those Flint characteristics that I think a lot of people look for in a wine like this. What makes this a Fumé Blanc? Oak? Question mark?
Okay, so the Flint, let's comment on the Flint because we don't want to leave Cellar Mistress wanting.
Yes, right?
We want to answer that question. I think there's great minerality in parts of the vineyard, and that shows up in the wine. So that soil, that sense of terroir, is showing up in every glass of Fumé Blanc Reserve that we make at Mondavi Winery. And then your other question was, what makes this Fumé Blanc? Well, so Mr. Mondavi coined the term Fumé Blanc. He had been to Europe, and he had tasted wines at the Loire, Sancerre, Puy-Fumé, and he said, I can make this wine back at Toquelin in the Napa Valley. And there was a lot of cheap, sweet Sauvignon Blanc being made here in the valley in the 1960s. And Mr. Mondavi demanded of not only himself, but of all of his neighbors to make wine that would stand in the company of the world's finest. And so he coined the term Fumé to connote that his wine was a little bit different than the Sauvignon Blanc that was being made at the time. Fumé Blanc is a synonym for Sauvignon Blanc. So in this wine is Sauvignon Blanc, but we call it Fumé Blanc to differentiate it from the cheap, sweet Sauvignon Blancs that were made at the time when we invented the wine.
And what was the reaction to that? Because, I mean, in hindsight, it's, you know, he decided to do this and make a statement. That's a kind of a big deal, you know, especially someone as influential as him. Was it well received? Was it controversial? 4 decades later,
almost 5 decades later, we're one of the most successful wineries in the Napa Valley. So I'm getting the impression that it was well received. I don't know that we'd all be here tonight had it not been. But it was controversial in a good way at its first time. I think that when Bob said to his neighbors and to our winemakers here that we could make those great wines that stand in the company of the world's finest, people didn't say you're crazy. Well, some did. But many people signed on and said, we're going to do that too. And so I think Bob's message has been extremely well received with regards to what the quality can be out of California winemaking and specifically the Napa Valley. And I think that's why we have all these great wineries up and down Highway 29 today that are making wines that are of that quality because of Bob's vision with this first wine.
Well said. 2011, this year we just wrapped up vintage.
Yes.
How we doing?
You know, we did well. Sauvignon Blanc came in early.
Okay.
It was cold, but what we did was we were able to get it in before there were any rains. And we have a smaller crop, but it's a more concentrated crop. And so we're very happy with the quality that we're seeing off of 2011, and we think you're going to enjoy the wines. They're really good.
Oh, look at this.
There's more.
Was fermentation and aging done in 100% oak neutral barrels?
Great question. The answer to that is no. So what we do with this wine is we ferment a percentage of it in stainless steel to preserve the fruit, and then a percentage of it in neutral oak for a softer, rounder mouthfeel, and then we blend those two together to create this wine.
Beautiful. So, Robert Mondavi Winery today is a flagship of wine, not only in California, not even the United States, but really it's a globally recognized brand.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, wow, right? How do you guys continue to cater that brand today and maintain that position in the culture and continue to press forward? I mean, you touched a little bit on the vision earlier, but...
So I think that it is just always making sure that the quality of what we do, there are no compromises. There is no room for not having the finest quality in everything that we do. And so it's not that we necessarily have to do anything in our marketing. We just continue making excellent wine. And we really let the wine and the winemakers and the vineyard speak for themselves. And I think that everyone who works here, from the chef, Mosier in the kitchen, who you'll meet later, to the winemaking team, to Matt Ashby, who manages the vineyards, there is a passion and a dedication for that quality. So it's not like we need to necessarily do anything then to keep that positioning. It's just there.
Beautiful. And one last question on the
Sure.
Fumé Blanc. Wine Review asks, is the winery and the grapes used for this wine organic? If not, is the winery moving in that direction?
Great question. Our winery is certified Napa Green, and our vineyards are sustainable. They are not 100% organic. And at Tokelon, that's not something we feel we can achieve. And so just because of our location, to be 100% organic, you've got to choose a location that really can weather that storm. And in this case, we can be sustainable, we can always edge toward being organic, but we know here at Tokelon that we'll never be 100% organic, but we are sustainable 100%, and we are 100% certified Napa Green. And we're very happy with that. And we also support, with our Fumé Blanc, this is a great wine to have with seafood of all kinds, and we support sustainable seafood. The Monterey Bay Aquarium works hard to make sure that you can know what seafood out there is sustainable. We urge you to not only look at robertmondavi.com to find that information, but also go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium's website, look that up, and when you're enjoying our Fumé Blanc from sustainable vineyards that you're having with sustainable seafood, that's a great way to go.
Beautiful, and I know we're going to talk to Chef Jeff Mosier later.
Yes.
What do you drink with this wine? You're getting home, you're going to make yourself a little something something for dinner. What are you going to pair with this?
So I've got a couple of suggestions. Being from Maine, the seacoast of Maine, if you were going to have a really nice Maine lobster with this, now don't use a lot of butter sauce for that lobster with this wine. Then move in a direction of one of our great reserve Chardonnays, but nice lobster, oysters with this. Margaret Mondavi has a cookbook with her daughter Annie, who's a chef, called Margaret and Annie. Best pairing I've ever had is the sesame crab salad with this Reserve Fumé Blanc out of that cookbook. And there are a lot of people who've spent years perfecting the right flavors and spices to go with our Reserve Fumé Blanc. So if you find that cookbook on a shelf somewhere, Margaret and Annie, it is Margaret Mondavi's cookbook. It's an amazing pairing, and that would be my recommendation.
Beautiful. And
but I would also say, we shouldn't tell you what you should like. We say drink what you like and like what you drink. Mr. Mondavi always said that. And it's the same with food pairings. So rather than serve this wine with one dish, make two separate things to have with your appetizers. Try them both with our Fumé Reserve, and that's a conversation starter for your dinner party.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carl Jaeger, Executive Director here, Robert Mondavi Winery. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here tonight,
Appreciate
and
your
we
time.
look forward to speaking to you later this evening.
I'll see you inside the party.
All right.
There we go, sir. Thank
Take care. Bye then.